The Netflix and Mappa partnership. This partnership was a very big deal. It's a very big deal to all of anime. This partnership being announced was actually insane to me. Like, and it's clearly insane to a lot of other people. The fact that this post alone garnered almost 2 million views, and a lot of people are very skeptical of a partnership like this for a good reason because Netflix they're starting to become like a real like juggernaut. They're like starting to have some actual power in the anime industry, and the fear, and for a lot of people, and myself included, is not only that like the the thought of that Netflix may have a hand in story development where Mappa is Japanese. Netflix is more in the Western world, and so the thought of having some Western influence into anime is not really that good of an idea. Could we have something like that? We have two collaborations like that. There's a saying called "too many cooks in the kitchen." When you have a like in a clip with Netflix in general, Netflix already is going to have the Warner Brothers acquisition if that goes well. When and if they do potentially do this, I really fear for because again there would be a credible juggernaut. Like the one thing I can applaud is that Netflix has already been doing have been leading up towards this for a while, starting with category. Like they've been starting since like 2022, I believe. Yeah, 2022. So they've been slowly having a good relationship with Mappa. So this is not new necessarily, but this is just going to be on a bigger scale. And so my hope is that with Mappa, they like they says here, they solely funded Chainsaw Man. So my hope is that with Netflix, they'll be able to genuinely support the studio, but not be too hand on, but get them the budget, get them the resources. But I feel like it's very naive to only think of the pros over the cons. Because, like, say for example, Xbox. Xbox was a massive studio, massive. I mean, massive corporation, and you would think they would have gave so many resources to all the studios, but they did nothing with it. They laid off so many people, and so my fear is if Netflix and Mappa, if this partnership is as big scale as it sounds, the amount of influence and the amount of control that you can have, and if they don't, and if Netflix don't have the results they're looking for, they might disagree with Mappa on certain things. They might control and like have more artistic differences, more creative differences. Like have a vision that they want to put. Like that is really not really I'm scared about because say for instance something like Death Note, the Death Note live action anime. Death Note was also came out on Netflix. I believe not. I can't remember. I believe it was it wasn't even that long ago. I'm pretty sure it was during 2017. 2017. That was an absolute disaster. 36%, 4.5. That was an absolute disaster. And when you try to westernize anime like this, like again, Death Note, they already had the blueprint. They already had the blueprint. Everyone hated it. And so for Mappa and Netflix, they're having an international focus. Plus, if for new it is for wait. If for new anime titles that it will be co-produced. So Netflix is definitely going to have some control and say so in the story, in the art style, in whatever. And for that, and that's another thing when I talk about art style design, censorship. We need to talk about censorship as well. We cannot disregard censorship. Censorship in Japan is very different from censorship in in America. Which when you have two two countries like that clash over censorship, it could be a very big problem. And for Netflix specifically, Netflix is significantly more powerful than a studio like Mappa. And for Mappa, obviously they're already struggling. Like even Mappa acknowledged that they're already struggling with working conditions. So I feel like Mappa would definitely be more dependent on Netflix. Like they say that Netflix that it will be a working relationship. Like it will be like 50-50, like that kind of thing that like they'll both benefit. But I'll be honest, I just don't see it. Like it'll be a win-win situation, but I just don't see it. That I feel like if anything, Netflix have. I feel like if anything, Mappa have more to gain and more to lose at the same time because Netflix is already strong. It doesn't necessarily need anime. It doesn't necessarily need anime as a front. It just wants anime to gain more of a stronghold. But with Mappa, all it is anime. So it creates that like that back and forth because they're going to be solely reliant on Netflix resources. I genuinely do believe that because again, Netflix is a juggernaut. They can absolutely support Mappa for as long as they want. And my hope is again that they could put, like they said, push the creative boundaries that Netflix can like go actually absolutely push Mappa up to the next level. Like that way, Mappa don't have to worry about the working conditions, about the budget. They can just straight up just focus on what they do best, and with Netflix not having to worry, what not having to have put more control on them with them being hands off and only being concerned about the resources side of things. If it's just that, but not too much emphasis on control and censorship, if it's something like that, I would be really happy because again, all of these anime right here that Netflix has done, they've been great. Now, granted, these are original manga light novel etc. So when we talk about like co-producing anime from scratch, that's going to be a little bit different. Then we'll see what kind of anime we're dealing with. But as far as these go, Netflix been pretty hands off. It's been pretty good, and I'm just hoping that it stays that way because they could be hit or miss depending on how it goes. Because some for like again, also and then that's another thing. Crunchyroll is also a company that Sony has run rampant with. They have such a monopoly, and I feel like Netflix it won't will be that in the not so distant future. Because what's stopping Netflix? Because Netflix, like I said before, Netflix has already gained Warner Brothers. They have already started a partnership with Mappa. What is stopping Netflix from getting even more partnerships in the not so distant future? Because I feel like it's very naive to say that Mappa will be the only partnership that Netflix will have for in its entirety. I feel like it's very naive. Like there's obviously going to be more dealings behind the scenes. I truly do believe that. And when that happens, I'll be very scared to see what will happen because you know that Netflix will. Once that happens, Netflix will definitely start raising the price, and what they do, they just definitely start having more control. Because when you become a monopoly like Crunchyroll is, they can set the price to whatever they want because there's no other good alternative. And if Netflix is going to be like a I don't know, like a spiritual successor to Crunchyroll, like a second coming, where we have two major big monopolies. That's going to be a little bit scary, but at the same time, this could be competition because with the big three, with the big three for of gaming, Nintendo, uh, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, they all have to stay in line. They all have to compete with one another. Netflix and but however Netflix it definitely does start competing with Crunchyroll in the not so distant future. But I'm just really scared to see how this goes, and a lot of people are very scared. You could see by the comments, a lot of people are scared that the working conditions could be more even worse than it already is, or even the censorship. And it's just very scared to see. But like, it could be healthy. It's again, there's pros and cons to both. I really don't know how to feel about it. Like on one hand, it can be good, like in the short term, but long term, if what we really gotta be thinking about long term, I actually don't know how this is going to be. Not only that, but this comment reminded me too. Release schedule. I have not been a fan of release schedule for the longest time. For a release schedule, like again, I always say this to my friends, but JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, great anime. Like if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. Great anime. But when they started doing with Giorno Golden Wind, when they started like binge releasing it from then on, I think that really killed the hype. Like I still love part four, part five, and I'm still gonna watch part six, Still Ball Run when it comes out in March, I believe. But I still do miss the days of when they had their weekly episodes, and I think that's gonna suck when more Mappa shows they're gonna be bulk release, and I just feel like I bet that's a negative to me anyway. But we're just gonna have to see how it goes. Regardless, though, I'll definitely be keeping my eye on this because this is a, a scary concept.